another AV Jam. We're here in Crestron UK. We've got our guest and new friend, Jimmy, over there in Crestron. Are you in Jersey, Jimmy?
I am in New Jersey. I am in what they call the Research and Development Building here at Rockley, New Jersey. So,
well, thanks for joining us. And what we wanted to talk about today is, for an experienced video conference guy, I've never been more confused about what an endpoint is. We've spent a whole afternoon getting some training on the Flex products, and I'm sold on that because I can wrap my brain around it. But I've just never been more confused. It's no longer we've got this debate with soft codec, hard codec, compute, and all this other stuff. And there isn't a right or wrong answer to me. You start me off.
I can't. That's my problem. I'm with you. I can't feel a right or wrong. For so long, people have been asking me, what do you put in here? And easily I could have said, because you need that feature, you need one of them or one of them or one of them.
Yeah, it's just Tamberg C90.
Yeah,
it's quite easy.
And it's not that it's a problem now, it's just more difficult now, because back then it was always, we didn't care what your infrastructure was. Everything run to a standard, whether you liked the standard or not, whether you thought they were great, everything run to that. So you knew that product worked with everything.
Yeah.
And now that's not necessarily the case. Obviously, Flex is a different story, and it's one of the only ones that are giving that additional extra, that positive story that we kind of don't care about your platform either. But
it's coming from an AV background as well, and let's let Jimmy jump in here.
But you guys were even talking about, all right, so the back end and, I have to have this immersive telepresence and I have to do that. Well, think of the cost that you guys were spending for some of these rooms. I just went over this with a customer the other day. They spent $1 million about 5 years ago on a fully immersive telepresence system that they actually put into place. And they're coming to believe that, hey, this might not have been the right place that we went to 5 years ago, because we're introducing some room systems that are sub $2,000 US here in the US at this point. So that kind of thinking and that kind of, hey, what is an endpoint? It's a difficult thing to say at this point, because what we're sort of taking the strategy of is really having the platform drive what your decision of that endpoint is. And if you choose Skype for Business, if you choose Microsoft Teams, if you choose Zoom, if you choose another partner that basically is going to be coming to Flex, we're that platform, and we're going to give you that ability to actually choose which native platform you run. One of the keys that Crestron strategy sort of has to it is that we don't want to be the guys that are creating that back end or that platform system. There's so many companies out there doing some amazingly incredible work on that back end. And if you look at what Teams has been able to do in 2 years, at Enterprise Connect, they just had the 2-year birthday celebration. And the amount of things that they put into Teams in 2 years are leaps and bounds ahead of Skype for Business. And now you've got Zoom that just went IPO here in the US, and Zoom as well. I mean, they've got some incredible roadmap things that are coming to their platform. So there's nothing that Crestron or another company can do to keep up with that platform. I see other manufacturers taking the strategy that they want to build their own sort of integration and system. I've even seen Zoom where they have a public API where people can connect to their platform. There's no way that you can keep up with the features and the additions that they have if you're going to do that yourself. You are going to start to run out of engineers at some point, to be honest.
and that is so true. That is where you can't keep up. I think the biggest thing for me, help with your systems in a way that you don't care about the back-end platform.
What about OpenUC?
Well, potentially, but what I was thinking is it's great that if you're a closed shop using just Teams or just Skype or just Zoom, the interop bit becomes such a minefield now. Even more because none of them are kind of working together to make it happen, and there's no kind of agreement on what we should use. That we use our internal like this. Use Flex as your endpoint, but we know that if you want to talk to something that's not Zoom or not Microsoft, you just need to do X, and you can talk to anyone else in the big wide world.
Does interop matter when Jimmy joined us from a guest link? How much does interop matter?
No, of course, but Jimmy could have had a Zoom room, and we're using Involved Cloud. Let's say we weren't using Involved Cloud. Let's say we were using Teams or we were using WebEx, and Jimmy's on the Zoom room. Why should Jimmy have to then take away from his device to use something different to the
rooms.
You've got interop somewhere. That's the bit for me. It's not more endpoint, it's more interop. I think.
But what if I solve that solution for you, and I gave you the native solution that is 90% use case for your company, but then on a hardware side, I gave you the ability to actually bring in another service, so that BYOD experience as well. That might be something that Crestron is working on. I don't know. There might also be solutions.
Why are we talking about things that you might be working on?
Yeah.
We're currently using a Mercury, the AV BYOD flavor, using the UC engine, the open cloud engine. Is that coming into Flex? Here's my thinking. So at the minute, you've got Teams, you've got Skype for Business native. Zoom is coming. Let's say, for argument's sake, you go down the line and you do Blue Jeans, you do WebEx, you do whatever. But then you throw in your open UC engine and put video in your SIP stack. You've then just made one product that can register natively to any manufacturer out there, and no one needs to buy a Cisco, a Polycom, a Lifesize, or anything else ever again.
Well, maybe. I mean, that's one way. I don't know that putting in a SIP stack and those kind of things would solve everybody. I mean, at that point, you're really going down the way that some other manufacturers have sort of decided it. And, you know, we have a very, very profitable business side here that's DM, and we have a second profitable business here that's Mercury. So there's two competing businesses here just within Crestron. There might be some possibilities that are coming where the two systems come together. That's kind of what we're viewing. And what if I can sort of transmit that video and transmit that USB and transmit everything using existing devices of Crestron, and I'm sort of bringing all that into the space. And I'm using that UC engine as my native platform, but anything else, hey, I might want BYOD to bring in. So there's a lot of opportunities that we're sort of exploring upon. You're going to see some of those at InfoComm this year.
Halcyon days then of Crestron taking over and Microsoft on the other side, and it's just Crestron and Microsoft everywhere.
Oh, listen, Microsoft has been a tremendous partner of ours. I think you guys see the push that Microsoft has sort of put into Crestron in recent years. We are the only partner that has actually been around since the Link Room system days. So we're the only partner that have brought it all the way from Link to Skype and now to Teams. And we're doing things, I don't know if you guys are going to do video, but if you guys were at Enterprise Connect, you saw the new phones that we actually introduced with Microsoft. So we're doing a lot around this. The Flex product line will actually be expanding next week. There will be new products actually that are new packages that are introduced next week. And there's a big opportunity and a big push for us inside of the Microsoft space. Behind me, you can also see Zoom rooms that are running natively on the UC engine. So that's something that we're doing as well. So there's a lot of things in development. There's a lot of things sort of being shared at this point, and there's a lot of things in the next 2 years that you guys are gonna. We have a very rich roadmap. So it's going to be cool.
Added to what Ilya said to us when we were at ISE about the constant upgrades, a traditional Tandberg C90 or whatever you used to install, the upgrades come far too thick and fast now for an old style codec to even work anymore. And that's why, if I am sold, and I don't know yet, if I am sold on the compute codec, that's why. Because you can't keep up.
And that's the beauty of the compute codec, because that manufacturer who is putting all them billions into their own R&D is doing that element for you. And I think the beauty for me, from your guys' point of view, is you're looking at an endpoint like we looked at endpoints. Yes, we were VC guys, but at the same time, we were AV guys. We are AV guys. We're still looking at it as a device that we can use and expect to function the way we do, and then function with the wider room.
Well, yeah, what I like about some of these, go on, mate, sorry.
No, I was going to say, it is the wider room, right? So it's that, instead of being the old traditional codecs where you turn it on, you have your video conference and you turn it off again, because now you can control your lights and you can control your heating and do all the other extra bits that stay in our area, right? So,
and I think that's
but think about it, guys. What surrounded every Tandberg system? What surrounds every Cisco system today? What surrounds every Polycom system today? It's Crestron. And we're not doing anything differently at this point. We're just making that piece instead of having somebody else make that piece, so that we can actually make sure that it's controllable and it's sort of inside of our world.
And that's the beauty of it. And I think that, for me, reflects as an entire portfolio does what none of the others can do, in a way that you can go with any of these manufacturers, these cloud-first manufacturers, and from small to large, you are covered. Nobody else covers that base.
But think about even in the Microsoft portfolio of partners. I mean, they've got a number of partners that do their MTR systems. We're one of them, but there's others. But nobody else has that XIO cloud piece that will deliver the analytics that you guys, as people that have been doing conference room for years, have been clamoring for. Because your customers are sitting there saying, well, how do I know the rooms are used? Well, how do I know how many times people used an HDMI connection? How many people actually attended that room? These are the analytics that we're doing in XIO Cloud that nobody else is able to deliver. So we've been doing these meeting rooms for 40 years. I've been with Crestron for 17 years. I know that I was one of the guys that sort of pushed the whole IT world here at Crestron and sort of pushed the way that we're doing cloud services and things like that. Myself, Joe Saracen, and Brian Donlin are really the three that sort of pushed XIO Cloud to its limits of what we can do, and now we're seeing that expand to the other pieces inside of Crestron. There's going to be a ton of things that we are going to be able to introduce that nobody else in this MTR solution will be able to introduce, and it's all built on Azure. It's still in the Microsoft world, so the partnership that we have is large, and like I said, the roadmap, you guys are going to see a lot of stuff coming.
I think
Infocom's going to rock.
I think Infocom's going to be amazing. We have nailed it. I think wrapping it up, I think from original question of I don't understand endpoints anymore. I don't think we're ever going to anymore in a way, because the landscape has changed so much.
Stop thinking like an old git.
Exactly that.
Get out of that old world and think of it new. We're never going to get everybody that, let's say, from a cloud UC point of view, that play nice together. You've got to find a way of making it work. And I suppose, let's be honest, that as Crestron
plays nicely. Crestron and Microsoft play nicely. Crestron and Zoom play nicely. I'm happy with that.
And this is the beauty of it. I think for Crestron's strengths, for us, it kind of puts the power in our hands, doesn't it, to make this work. It should only be good for us, shouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd hope so. I would hope so. Yeah.
I'm good for it for everybody. So, and we got to get back. We got to get back together when we get around Infocom time, because I'll give you guys some of the scoop on the stuff that I've been teasing here. So. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but this room's really hot. We're going to the pub. Great to spend some time with you. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.